Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE NXT episode 551, NXT UK episode 83, and I also attended live AEW Dynamite here in Colorado, specifically in Broomfield at the First Bank Center on March 4th, 2020. NXT UK was broadcast the next day, the day that I'm recording this, March 5th. But before I talk about all of that, I want to talk very briefly about the new film. It's out in theaters right now. You can go and see it if you want. I would really recommend, I wouldn't necessarily recommend seeing this movie if you're buying the ticket straight up. If you have a movie theater subscription like AMC Premiere or Regal's thing or whatever else is going on with all those subscriptions, I am out of touch with which ones are available. But if you have one of those subscriptions and you like these guys, you like the TV show, then I do recommend checking out the Impractical Jokers movie. I thought it was really funny. I've only seen a few episodes of the show, but it took that prank film sort of formula. A lot of times those films have like a road trip aspect to them, and this one is similar in that regard. The ones that try to weave an actual story, that is. You have the Jackass movies. Those don't have a story at all. And that's fine because it's just ridiculous. But like Bad Grandpa, Action Park, or whatever it's like a prequel to Bad Grandpa. It's about when the Bad Grandpa was young and he ran a really, really dangerous amusement park. That movie was really funny. Also coming up is Bad Trip, starring Eric Andre and Tiffany Haddish, and that movie looks really funny. I'm definitely going to check that out when it's released, or at some point after that. But yeah, this movie, I'm not really familiar with these guys, but like I don't know their stories, all that. But they unfold, their stories unfold as they are relevant to the story in this film, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So basically, they have we start off like in 1990, and they're all headed to a Paula Abdul concert, but they don't have tickets, so they sneak in. They have these security outfits and all that, and they get in trouble. They ruin the concert, and they get away. And Paula Abdul swears her to get revenge on them someday. And then they run into her at a restaurant in the present day. And they're really panicked, especially I think it's Sal. He is the one he gets clotheslined by Paula Abdul. I'm spoiling a lot of this movie. Sorry about that. You'll still really enjoy this movie. It's a lot of fun because the real fun of it, the story is really silly and out there. It doesn't really matter if stuff is a surprise or not. So, but if I ruined it by spoiling stuff for you, I'm really sorry. But it's the pranks that they do that are the most fun aspect of the film. This is just kind of the framework they have. But anyway, they run into her at a restaurant, and she's like, "Oh, you're the Impractical Jokers. You're so funny. Come on down to my party in Miami. It's next week," or whatever. And so, and she gives them her assistant gives them some credentials for it, badges on lanyards. And they only get 3 of them. There's 4 of these guys. And so they decide, oh yeah, we're all going to go down there, but to figure out who's going to get into the party, we're going to have we're going to do hidden camera pranks, challenges all along the way. So that's what they do. I think I'm trying to think of what my favorite one was. There's a really good one where they're on a boat with like some other tourists. And there's for each thing that they do, there's a different person that's stranded on like a little rubber raft, and the captain is in cahoots with everybody, and they are with the Jokers, And it's like, okay, well, we all have to be in agreement to rescue somebody. It's maritime law or whatever. And so they having to convince these other tourists, like, no, we shouldn't help them on board. That was really funny. And then there was another one where they each took turns trying to get people to stop and help them with their broken down car. And of course, they're all like feeding each other's lines and like what to do, all that. I think that one might have been my favorite. There's also a job interview one that was really good. Actually, man, all the pranks. The only prank I didn't really like, it was still pretty fun, but there's a prank that only one person did, and so it didn't like count towards their win or loss tallies. So that I'd say that one was the only one that didn't really fit with all the rest of them, but it was still pretty fun, and it was fine. That was in there. You'll know it when you get to that part of the movie. So yeah, there you go. My thoughts. 5 minutes of thoughts on the Impractical Jokers movie, which is only 90 minutes. But I really enjoyed it, and I used my AMC pass for it. I was gonna see either The Lodge or Brahms the Boy 2, but I would have had to wait another half hour to do those. So the timing ended up working out really well because I went and saw this movie just maybe like 2 miles away from where AEW Dynamite was taking place. So I left to go up there. It's on the other side of town. It's only like 40 miles away, but with traffic, once rush hour traffic hits, it take well over an hour to get up there. So I left in the afternoon, just after lunch, got there, saw a movie, and then had dinner, headed to the show. Worked out really great. And I was really glad that my friend G, he came and used one of my tickets that I got, and he was able. Initially, he wasn't going to be able to get there in time for the start of the show. He was going to get there late, like a half hour after the show started. But luckily, he was able to get up there, leave work early, and he saw the entire show. So that was really awesome. It also worked out really well. So I had 4 tickets. I put the other 2 tickets up for sale. They sold like 2 days before, but I had them listed for slightly less than what I paid for them initially, including the fees and everything. And I think what probably happened was that somebody jumped on those tickets thinking that they could flip them, but there just wasn't the interest. They probably set the price way too high or something like that. But it worked out because they didn't have to sit next to other people. I didn't have to sit next to strangers, and I also got my money back basically for those tickets. So I was going to be totally fine with not having sold the tickets and just having extra space for sure. But best of both worlds right there. The only better case scenario would have been if I made a little bit of profit on there. But I lost like $4 or $5 on each of the tickets, which is fine. That's a good price to pay to not sit next to anybody. And far less of a price than the full $46 or whatever it is. But anyhow, so Dynamite, I'll start with this because it's the first thing I watch out of everything. I did not take notes or anything like that. I have a very general awareness of what's going on in AEW. I have a lot better awareness now. Still, I feel like I could not explain very much that's going on at all. Half of the champions did not appear on this episode. So we didn't see, even though there was what was it? There's a meet and greet, with a bunch of different people, including all of SCU, the women's champion, Nyla Rose, and somebody else. I can't remember who the other person was. But I missed that. I was kind of tempted to not go to the movie, instead get in line to do the SCU, because I was wearing my "This is the worst town I've ever been in" shirt. One of my only actual AEW shirts, and that came out before AEW existed even. So it's not technically even an AEW shirt. Maybe it is. No, I'm no. Well, maybe the new ones are. Maybe they have the AEW logo on the new versions of it. I think they still sell that shirt. But anyway, so Nyla was there, but she did not have a match or appear in the arena for a promo or anything. Or she did. I totally missed. I'm pretty sure I didn't miss it. I didn't leave to use the restroom or anything during the show at all. But yeah, so Nyla didn't appear on the show, nor did she appear on Dark, AEW Dark. And then Kenny Omega didn't appear at all. So that's half the champions right there. Kenny Omega being half of the tag team champions, along with Hangman Adam Page. He did appear. I really enjoyed his appearance. And I don't know what the context is of him just getting more and more beer, but he had a huge, just his arms were just stuffed. He had all these cups and cans that he collected from people giving it to him, of beer, different beers. I don't think there's any. I think it was all they're all different types of beer. But yeah, I really liked that moment. I forget what happened, what the context of that was. It was something with. That's right. It was best friends. One of the best friends, I forget their names, versus Bastard Pac, and also Orange Cassidy was out there, and yeah, it was a whole thing. Ended up with some of the. No, it wasn't that match. It was the match with QT. It was QT versus Jake Hager. That's right. That's when it happened. I did not take. I'm just going off of memory. I don't know what order everything took place in, but I really liked Hangman Page, his whole involvement in that. Yeah, that was that other match. Because Orange Cassidy doing his thing with Pac and everything. That was its own thing. We have a new faction, I guess, or team with Phoenix and Pentagon and Pac. There are the triangle, the Death Triangle, Death Triangle, yeah, Death Triangle, and then it's Triangle de los Muertos is the Spanish name, something like that. That was cool to see the origin of this trio. They did some really cool stuff in their match and their involved, like that, like all escalated and everything. Because originally it was the best friends and Orange Cassidy out there, and it was just Pac. But then the Lucha Bros came out and helped him to beat up the other guys. So yeah, Pac is great. Anyway, so I think I would be a little bit more disappointed. I was mostly disappointed that Kenny Omega didn't appear on the show, because he's one of my favorite people in all of AEW. And it seems like he's got a lot more traction right now, a lot more cool stuff that he's doing. Since the last time I watched, which was right at the beginning of Dynamite, it seems like he's in the lows of his storyline, and I didn't really enjoy watching that very much. I was kind of disappointed watching that stuff, but yeah, seeing some clips from Revolution this past Saturday, I was like, oh, they've been having great matches as a tag team and all of that. Like all the clips I've seen from that was really awesome. But anyway, we open the show. There's just a few moments I do want to talk about specifically. We opened the show with Moxley making his entrance, and he made his entrance through the tunnel that was right below where I was sitting. So that was really cool to see him that close. I mean, I wasn't like right up close to him. I wasn't able to pat him on the shoulder and things like that, like everybody wants to do. Why? But I mean, I know why, but no, especially in today's what's the phrase? In today's economy. No, that's not the right word for that. That is the phrase that is the quote that I was trying to think of from the Gary Goldman special that I think it was on HBO. It was from a few years ago. But anyway, yeah, why are people patting wrestlers on the shoulder? Like, oh, I got to touch them. Oh, I got the baby oil on my hands from them. It's like, no. Why? No. Fist bump. Go for a fist bump. Go for like high fives, fist bumps. Oh, that's great. But like, if they don't go for it, don't like. That's not like a good alternative. They missed giving you a high five. Don't pat them on the back and like that's weird, especially if they're shirtless. Anyhow, what with the coronavirus, all that stuff going on, that's even more reason don't touch anybody. Like nobody should touch anybody else at all, unless you know you're going to be touching, like it's somebody that you have to touch. Not that you have to touch, but family members that you have to like, hold their hands to cross the street and stuff like that. You can touch those people, but like strangers, it's like do in a greeting, fist bump, just a wave, a nod, a bow, whatever, and wash your hands. Most importantly, wash your hands. Everybody wash your hands. Have you washed your hands today? If the answer is no, how have you gone an entire day without washing your hands? The real question should be, have you washed your hands in the last half hour? And if you haven't, like, just do it. Just do it. Like, it's the chances of it being a good thing are way higher than it being a bad thing. There's no bad thing that can really happen from washing your hands like an extra time. Unless you're using a soap that is known to irritate your skin, to cause your skin to dry out and crack, and get to, like the bloody cracky hands, then that's not a good thing. But figure out your alternative. Like, get your hands clean, and don't put stuff in your mouth. I'm really bad about that. I put pens and pencils in my mouth just to chew on them while I'm thinking about stuff, working on stuff, and whatnot. But in general, it's I'm the only person who uses those things, so it's fine. Usually. Anyhow, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, Moxley made his entrance, so that's cool, and he dared the Inner Circle to come at him, and then they do, and that's what he asked for. So, like, what's the problem? And then Darby Allin was supposed to have a tag team match as Moxley's partner. Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, they came out there. They're the opposing team, but before Moxley can make his entrance, he gets attacked by some of the Inner Circle, by what's his name, and the other guy, and he gets taken out. Backstage, they join at ringside, so Moxley's been left in a gutter or something. I don't know, but the entire time while this is happening, we're looking at Darby Allin is just standing there, like looking at the screen. We're like, go help him. What's going on here? Just go. You see what's going on. It's happening like 100 feet away. You really just have to go up a corridor, and you can help him out. But he doesn't. He stays out there. So, yeah, we were a little bit incredulous about that, because that's what we would see when we're in the arena. We thought for a little while we couldn't see where he was, but then we spotted him. It's like, oh, he's just standing there. He's letting Moxley get beat up. But anyway, the match was pretty fun. His hot tag to himself was probably one of my favorite wrestling moments of the show. And then like the whole run that he did right after that, like powered him up. And so that was pretty exciting. But in general, the matches, I didn't think anything was really like must see from this episode. There was a really cool match that I recommend from AEW Dark. We saw, oh crap, what's her name? Let's see if I can find. Okay, so I am skipping around again, and even more so. I do have the discussion page from the actual. Okay, let me talk about the matches that happened on the show first. We had SCU and Colt Cabana 4-man tag team match against the Dark Order. I don't know any of the people in Dark Order's names, so I don't know. But SCU and Colt Cabana won. Colt won the match. He got the pin, so that was really exciting. Then we had Big Swole versus Leva Bates. Big Swole won that match. She used the book. She used the book as a weapon, and I booed. It's cheating. It's a weapon. The referee was distracted by the other librarian. I forget his name. His name is Peter Avalon. That's right. Because he was on one of the dark matches, but I'll get to that in a second. We had Chuck Taylor of Best Friends versus Pac. I talked about that a little bit. And then we had QT Marshall versus Jake Hager. I don't know anything about QT Marshall. I think this might have been the first time I've seen him. And I don't remember much from that match before all the chaos happened. And then the main event, Darby Allin versus Chris Jericho and Sam Guevara in a handicap match because Moxley got taken out of the picture. So Chris Jericho and Sam Guevara won the match eventually, but they weren't doing so. They were getting beat up pretty good by just this one other guy. There was a segment. I think everybody was really anticipating because earlier in the day, the finale of Free the Delete from Matt Hardy was broadcast. It was put on. It wasn't broadcast. It kind of was. It was released on YouTube, and it ended with the Young Bucks arriving in an SUV and Bucks of Youth. I knew you'd come. So everybody expected, he's going to be the Exalted One, leader of the Dark Order, or maybe something else. I feel like he's going to be something else. Because why would the Young Bucks come to get him if he's going to be with the Dark Order? So I think he might be part of their faction, their group, their alliance to fight off the Dark Order, perhaps. I don't know. But and then somebody else is going to be the leader. Probably what's his name? What's his original name? Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper. I think he'll be the Exalted One, and Matt Hardy will do his own thing and be part of like the alliance to fight off the Dark One. I think maybe. I don't know. We'll see. That's what I think. But none of that was revealed. I thought maybe so Jake the Snake Roberts came out to interrupt Cody's promo talking about how he was beaten by MJF again, and he basically tells Cody that he's whiny, he's complaining, he's crying, he's like, I never cried about a wrestling match in my life and all that kind of thing. And he closes out. He says he represents a client, and that the client is going to be there soon. That darkness is coming to AEW. But I thought with that, I was like, is he the Exalted One of the Dark Order? But he was referring to something else. Kind of a little bit confusing, using the same, some of the same similar phrasing and stuff like that that you might use talking about the Dark Order. But he ended by saying, great ending is a great man once told me, or I'm paraphrasing here what I can remember of it. Never turn your back on someone you respect or fear, or something like that. And he just turns around and walks away. As he's saying that, basically he turns his back on Cody, just flips the microphone behind him. That was pretty pretty solid drop the mic moment, worthy of that microphone flip. So yeah, that was really cool to see Jake the Snake there in person, cutting a promo. That was probably the coolest non-wrestling moment of the night, I thought. Maybe. There's certainly a bunch of other moments that I could choose as my wrestling and non-wrestling favorite moments as well. But so over on AEW Dark, before the show, it was Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy defeated Kip Sabian and Peter Avalon. I'm not very familiar with Kip Sabian. I'm not sure if I've seen him in any singles or tag team matches before. I think I may have only seen him in a battle royale type of situation. But yeah, that was pretty fun. So I did enjoy this show. I don't want to be negative about it, but I do want to mention somebody behind during this match. It wasn't a bad match. There's some fun stuff in there. I enjoyed it. But I hear somebody behind me and they say something like this. I don't know if this is exactly what they said. And I assume they said in years at the end of this sentence. They might have meant in weeks or in months or something. But he said, this guy a couple rows behind me, there's like nobody in between us at that point because it was before the show started, so not everybody's gotten their seats or whatever. But he says, oh, this match is better than anything that WWE has put out in years or months or days or whatever he says. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I mean, this is good. It's good, but you clearly you don't watch WWE because just the other night, 2 nights ago on Raw, we saw Humberto Carrillo and Rey Mysterio versus Angel Garza and Andrade. That match was incredible. And you're like, this match is good. I'm enjoying this match, but it is not better than that match that I just saw on TV the other day. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of just inflating, exaggerating, like how good any match, like let's say some fans will say that of just about any match. It's like, oh, this match is like the worst match in the card, but it's still better than. I mean, they didn't say it like that, but like on paper, this isn't going to be the best match of the night. But they're like already like inflating it. And had they been, I don't know. I'm gonna spot. I don't want to be negative anymore about it because I did enjoy the show. I did enjoy this match, but that type of that statement is just not correct. It's if it's true to that person, then they actively don't watch, haven't seen a match in that time span that they're speaking of from WWE because yeah. Anyway, okay. After the show, we had Jimmy Havoc versus Severino Corrente. Jimmy Havoc won that match. Abaddon, a local female wrestler, who's just this. She has this crazy makeup. She's like a zombie lady or something. I don't know what she is. She's undead or she's alive, but she's some type of horror creature named Abaddon. But Hikaru Shida defeated her, but she was pretty freaked out by Abaddon. But yeah, go check out this match because Abaddon, I've seen her a couple of times here at local shows. She's at Lucha Libre and Laughs one of the times that I went, and she appears very frequently on Respect Women's Wrestling. She's here at Herman's Hideaway on Broadway here in the south of Denver area. But just look up Respect Women's Wrestling in Denver. So yeah, that was really cool to see her on the show. And yeah, I think that was overall, that match was maybe my favorite complete match of the night. It was the only match that didn't really have. Oh yeah, there was the Jimmy Havoc and Severino Corrente match did not have like a run-in afterwards or anything like that. So like these two matches, I feel like were the only ones that didn't have anything like that or like outside involvement type stuff. Because we had some stuff with Leva Bates getting involved and with Marco Stunt in that tag match opening the show, all that kind of thing. So I extra appreciated this match for being a complete match, self-contained, without any outside forces or interference. Like everything. Okay, I don't mean this to say it's bad to continue storylines, but everything else on the show, all the other matches and stuff, were like just continuing storylines, and so they would end up with outside interference or run-ins right after the match, getting attacked right after the match, all that kind of stuff. So it's good to see a couple of matches that didn't have any of that. Then we also had Private Party defeat Sunny Kiss and Brandon Cutler. Okay, so all these this is all spoilers. I should have said, well, I said I'm talking about the dark matches. So you'll see these matches on YouTube next week. Go watch, at the very least, watch Abaddon in action there. But Private Party, I wasn't sure if they're I didn't know who I was rooting for in this match, or who I was meant to be rooting for, because then it ended up seeming as though Sonny and Brandon were aligned with all the good guys that came out afterwards. The Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Joey Janela, all of them that came out after the show. I don't think this part will be on the TV or on the AEW Dark show. But after this, they all come out and they're kind of closing out the show, doing some fun house show type stuff, which makes a lot of sense because they don't have actual house shows as AEW. I mean, all these guys, most of these guys just do other independent shows and they do stuff like this in those shows. But yeah, that was pretty fun. Orange Cassidy spoke during that. He says hello, and then says who he is, and then he just said everybody else's name. That was like all he said, and the crowd loved it. I loved it too. It was really fun for being. It was just so simple, and like he was just saying everybody's name. He accidentally calls. Oh, Private Party was out there too. They were all, but they got all attacked by Triangle of Death. So even though they were opponents, they joined forces to help fight them off, and then the others came and helped and all of that. But he calls them Pirate Party. Oh, this is my favorite part of the show. When Orange Cassidy calls them Pirate Party, is Private Party. So dumb. It's like if it was whether it was on purpose or it was an accident, either way, it was really funny. I don't think it changes it for me. If it was an accident, played off very well. If it was on purpose, that was very clever to think of. And either way, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was basically it. Then they ended with a huge group hug. There's somebody in the audience dressed as Joey Janela, and Joey brought him in. He was like, "Oh, it's me from the future." So he kept calling him Joey Janela from the future. Brandon Cutler got attacked by Orange Cassidy so that he could do the job to future Joey Janela. So that was a really fun part of it. And then there's a girl who's dressed up as Orange Cassidy, so he brought her into the ring. And she was part of the group hug along with future Joey Janela. So that's how they closed the show, with one big group hug. So there you go. That was my experience at AEW Dynamite for the first time since their very first episode, as far as the live experience. I did see I did watch the first the couple of episodes after that. That was the last time I've watched a full broadcast episode, whatever, from AEW. So it was pretty interesting to be figuring stuff out, learning what's going on with everybody. And luckily, in a lot of cases, G knew more what was going on than I did, so I could ask him some of the questions and all that. All right, so how long is this episode already? Already well over 30 minutes. I'm going to go real quick through NXT and NXT UK because, NXT was really good. Honestly, I think I would have had more fun being at this NXT show because there's 2 cage matches. I thought both cage matches were pretty awesome. But they would have been a lot more traveling. Way prefer driving 40 minutes each direction than flying 900 miles or however many, 1,300 miles each direction, and renting a car and doing all that kind of thing that's involved with going to an NXT show at Full Sail, traveling from Denver. But anyway, so we open up with the Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai cage match. So Dakota made her entrance with Raquel Gonzalez, and so she was at ringside the entire time outside of the cage. But there's some really awesome moments throughout this match. We had Tegan hit a huge crossbody off the top when she was about to escape, but she thought, I should take her out next. Also, Raquel's just standing right below her and would probably just mess her up if she tried to climb down. Dakota kicks the door into Raquel accidentally, so that almost went really badly for Dakota. But Dakota Kai kicks out after the shiniest wizard. Huge moment there. And then she slams as Dakota's trying to escape. Tegan slams the door. She's up on the top of the cage about to escape at the top, but she slams the door into Dakota because Raquel is trying to pull Dakota out of the door. Slams into her leg. But then Raquel immediately slams the door into Tegan, pinning her against, like, between the door and the wall, and you're just keeping her trapped there. And so Dakota is able to escape, and I really like that ending. I thought it was awesome. When Tegan started to climb, it kind of silly. Potential. I see it being kind of silly that she didn't just try to go out the door because the door is right there. But Raquel was just right there. So her plan, it could have worked, but it didn't. It backfired. And as soon as she started climbing up the cage next to the door, I thought, that door is going to be hurting her very soon. I did not anticipate to play out exactly how it did. It was even better than anything that I had imagined was going to happen. So I really, really like that match. Favorite match of the week? Yes. So far, yes. We'll see what happens on SmackDown. I don't know what's going to happen on SmackDown. There's going to be a gauntlet. That's what's going to happen on SmackDown. There's a gauntlet match in all the tag teams that are in the Elimination Chamber, and the winner of this gauntlet match, even though the champions are in this gauntlet match, the winner of this gauntlet match does not win the championship. They win the ability to enter the Elimination Chamber last. So it'll probably be the Usos. I'm going to say, I'm guessing it'll be the Usos. So that match could potentially be the best match of the week. We'll see. Then we had Rhea there at Raymond James Stadium on location, just reminiscing about the future. But talking about how excited she is about the match and how much it would mean to separate herself from Charlotte Flair by beating Charlotte Flair and all that kind of thing. So it was a really cool package, and I'm getting more and more excited for that match. Oh, I still stand by the statement. It should be the main event of TakeOver instead of just being somewhere in the mix in the 17 hours of WrestleMania on Sunday. But it's still it being it in front of that many people is really cool. I just think it'd be better as the main event of TakeOver. Then we had Shotzi Blackheart versus Chelsea Green in a qualifier match to get into the ladder match at TakeOver Tampa that will determine the NXT Women's Champion's next opponent, where the champion ends up being Rhea or Charlotte. It'll be Rhea. It's definitely... I don't know. Well, maybe. Charlotte could win. It's going to be Rhea. So Chelsea Green wins via the I'm Prettier. And she gets one of the 6 spots in that ladder match. This is the only qualifier match on this episode. I anticipate there'll probably be like 2 in the next episode or the next episode after that, because I don't think there's 5 more episodes until between now and TakeOver. So they've got to double up in one of these episodes coming up. Next week, they're doing like a fan appreciation at the from the Performance Center, as opposed to filming from their usual spot at Full Sail, because there's the scheduling conflict. So I don't know what's going on with that, how that's going to be. But there's going to be 2 title matches. There's going to be the Broserweights versus the Undisputed Era for the tag team titles, and there's going to be Keith Lee versus Cameron Grimes for the North American Championship. So it is a pretty it's shaping up to be a pretty stacked show for being broadcast from the Performance Center. But they've done a show from the Performance Center before. They did Halftime Heat from there. So they have made it work before. It'll be a really strange but interesting situation. I thought they were going to go is complete opposite direction of what I thought they were going to do. I thought they would get like a college arena or something like that, like they usually do this time of year. They'll do it in the past years. They do a whole month of their tapings from this one arena in Georgia, I think it is, in the Atlanta area. But they did not. They're not doing that this week. Next week. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, kind of a bummer that Shotzi lost, especially because I don't think there was any cheating involved. But I do like that she calls the Prettier the I'm Prettier. That's good. I like that. Then we had Keith Lee come out, starts talking, but Cameron Grimes interrupts, and Keith Lee just hucks him right out of the ring, and they will fight next week, we find out. Then we had Undisputed Era versus Oni and Danny. Kyle O'Reilly pins Oni, and then the Broserweights come out, and after the Undisputed Era, they start cutting a promo, saying, oh, something's missing. Where are our championship belts? And then the Broserweights come out, and as Riddle and Dunn are doing their thing, grizzled young veterans come out. Zach Gibson cuts a promo. Is soon to be proved the world's #1, and that could be pretty cool. If this is a triple threat at TakeOver Tampa, that'd be pretty great. Because Gibson and Drake, I think they're real good. Then we have Isaiah Swerve Scott versus I thought I had written down The Arm. Like, what? Who is The Arm? No, Theory. I wrote down Theory in very poor handwriting. Austin Theory. Austin Theory wins that match via the Austin Theory launch. Then we have an interview with Johnny Gargano, conducted by Mauro, conducted at the Performance Center. And Johnny starts to get really angry. He gets all up in Mauro's face, blaming him for like just being there and like assuming stuff about him, about Ciampa. Is like he's quick to say daddy's home and all that, and be on Ciampa's side. He's he's getting really angry at Mauro. He's like, oh, nothing funny to say now. No Mamma Mia's. All that stuff. And Mauro like leaves. Like, I'm not taking this. So yeah, it was super intense. Really cool segment. That was good stuff. And then our main event, we had Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong in a cage match. We had Marina at one point provide a kendo stick for Roderick Strong, and then we had the rest of the Undisputed Era provide other weapons later on. But Velveteen Dream fights them all off. He ends up shoving Roderick Strong out of the cage. So Roderick Strong wins the match because he escapes, but Adam Cole is inside the cage at that point, and Dream shuts the door, locks it, and it's on between these two guys. But Adam Cole, he didn't want this to happen. But Velveteen Dream, his eyes are on Adam Cole and his championship. He goes on the attack, takes out the other guys as they're trying to climb into the ring and all that. And then we end the episode with Velveteen Dream standing tall on the top of the cage, holding up the championship. And that's what he's after now. That's the only thing that he can go after as far as titles go, because the Undisputed Era doesn't have any other titles. It's like, I humiliate. Like, can you really be proud of that win that you only won because I threw you out of the cage? That's what I see that as. I see a lot of discussions saying, like, that's so dumb that he lose the match on purpose. And I'd say, he didn't care about winning this match. He cared about humiliating Roderick Strong, kicking his ass, which he did. And it didn't matter about there wasn't a championship on the line. There wasn't a championship opportunity on the line. Like, there was no reason to win the match except that winning would mean, defeating him. But he defeated him in other ways. And so, that leaves, one down, other to go after Adam Cole, get that championship, be the top champion of NXT. So that match should be awesome because it seemed like something else was like, that didn't seem like it was the direction things were going to go. Just Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream. I'm excited for that. That's going to be great. So there you go. That's this week's NXT. Over on NXT UK, this is going to be really quick because I really didn't take very good notes on this, and I was I was drawing and stuff while I was quote unquote watching it. So I'm mostly just listening to what was going on. But I did the main event was really good. Last week's main event I liked a lot more. This week's I'd say, check it out if you have a chance, but it's not a must see. But it's the biggest, literally the biggest UK championship match yet, because finally Walter is fighting a huge guy, in Dave Mastiff. Combined, these two guys are around 600 pounds, something like that. So it was heavy hitting for sure. But before we get to that, we had Travis Banks versus Alexander Wolf. Alexander Wolf won that match via a sit-out powerbomb. Then we had Rich Holland versus Sexton Huxley, and Rich Holland pretty much destroyed him quickly. I felt like that match was maybe a minute long. Then we had Isla Dawn versus the newly debuted Aoife Valkyrie, and Aoife won her match. She just debuted either last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, but I like both of them a lot. I'm not as familiar with Aoife, but as I'm seeing more and more of her, I am liking her a lot as well. And then we have Ligero backstage last week. Okay, I don't think I mentioned this last week. Noam Dar cut this promo about Ligero, and he was making fun of Ligero and him having the lucha mask and all that, and he was saying some Spanish words and really it was kind of offensive accent, making fun of him. And Ligero responds this week, and he says he's gonna shut up Noam Dar next week. So that should be a pretty good match. And that leads us into the main event: Dave Mastiff versus Walter for the UK Championship. And eventually, I mean, they're just knocking the crap out of each other. But Walter hits a power bomb after three of his other signature moves aren't quite effective. And Walter successfully defends the UK Championship. So not really a surprise. I mean, this was pre-taped anyway, so the spoilers are out there. But it's from last week on NXT. We saw Imperium issue the challenge to Finn Balor, or deliver the regards to Finn Balor from Walter. So I really, really hope that match happens in Tampa, as opposed to having to wait another month for the rest of the month until TakeOver Dublin. But if we have to wait that long, that's fine too. It's just going to be a lot longer build up to it. I think that the match has to happen. It's got to be happening in Tampa, and then maybe a rematch if Finn wins, which would be awesome. Then a rematch in Dublin, perhaps. But we'll see. We'll see what goes down there. They're recording their next batch of episodes this weekend. I haven't had to even try avoiding spoilers from those tapings because not a lot of people post about it anyway. So I don't think I'll get spoiled on that at all. But yeah, I'm excited to see where things go between now and WrestleMania. And I also hope that they film all the episodes leading into TakeOver Dublin in Tampa during Access, because that's what they've done that's what they did last year. They weren't leading into another takeover, but they did film their next batch of episodes because everyone was there, and they could get some NXT talent in there doing stuff, all that. So I hope that they film NXT UK in Tampa at WrestleMania Access, because I really enjoy being in the audience for those. So anyway, yeah, it's a really long episode for this part of the week. Unlike last week I combined in SmackDown and 205 Live, so I will still have a separate episode for that, and possibly also be talking about a couple of the movies that are coming out this weekend, or that have already been out for a little while, if I see those right before I end my subscription. Oh, by the way, no, I'm going to save this. I'm going to talk about this in my comic book episode, because I only have 3 more episodes to watch of The Watchmen. So if I watch those and I read a whole bunch of this week's comics, then I can talk about a whole lot of stuff in the next, probably the very next episode that I publish after this. So the new comics episode this week, stay tuned for that. That's going to be a long one as well. Hopefully this episode was somewhat entertaining. A lot of recap, of course, but I'm pretty happy with some of the sidetracks we took along the way, and I really enjoyed all 3 of these shows, and that movie Impractical Jokers. Go check it out if you like the Impractical Jokers TV show. You're gonna like this movie. Okay, so I've only seen a few episodes of it, and these guys are fun to watch. Maybe a couple of them time to time is like, this dummy, but there is only a couple other people in the theater because it's 2 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon, as opposed to 2 p.m. on a Wednesday morning. No, it was on 2 p.m. on a weekday, and so yeah, I was one of 4 people in there maybe, but there's another guy in the back row. He was on the opposite side of the theater, and so I was on the far left side, he was on the far right side, and he was cracking up so much at stuff that I could tell is maybe running jokes or known personality traits from the TV show. I was like, I kind of wish that I was more familiar with the TV show, but I'm secondhand enjoying the in-jokes because of how much this guy is enjoying it. So yeah, it was. I had a lot of fun watching that movie, but I would not advise seeing it full price. See it if you don't have a subscription. Go see it matinee show. See it, at whatever the matinee prices, or AMC has special Tuesday prices. Go check it out at one of those times. I think that'll be a better value. That's a better value for any movie you go see. Like, don't pay full price to see any movie. Screw them. Get that matinee pricing. Or, yeah. Or, I mean, if you can, and the timing, it's the best timing to see a movie. Go see it at a normal time. Go see it in IMAX. All that kind of stuff. You can't see Impractical Jokers on IMAX. It'd be crazy if you could. Maybe it'll be in IMAX next week when after Onward has its run in the IMAX. Like, all right, Onward, you had your chance. We're gonna pop Impractical Jokers over here. We had Parasite a couple weeks ago. Now we're gonna put Practical Jokers in there. Get all that TBS. No, it's True TV money. But anyway, all right, that's it. That's everything for this week. I've talked enough about all this stuff. So let me know what you thought about all of these shows and Impractical Jokers the Movie by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. Stay safe out there in all the infinite multiverses, and I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.